Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's session in which we are going to just chat a little bit about the expectation of the FOR3701 exams, getting ready for the exams, and what you could be expecting from the upcoming exam. I just want to advise that we are recording this session so that those students who are unable to join us can view the recording afterwards. Your exam for FOR 3701 is scheduled for 24 October 2023 from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. This means that you have a 4-hour exam. It's going to be an open book exam, so you're going to log onto the system. You are going to do what you have to do with the Invigilator app, and you are going to download the examination paper, and you are going to answer the questions, after which time, once you are done, you then upload it onto the exam portal as well. Please note that you are writing via the exam portal and not via the module site. As I said, the exam will start at 8 o'clock, which means that the system will open at 7:45 the morning, and you will have then from 7:45 that morning until 8:30 to sign into the Invigilator app. So prepare your space before the time. If you know that you are going to be having load shedding, please make sure you get to an area where there will be sufficient electricity and network coverage. Prepare your resources ahead of the time, your study guide and your additional materials, which you are permitted to use because it is an open book exam. Read your questions carefully. Make sure that you paraphrase what you are writing and that you reference. I want to remind everybody at this stage, you should all be intimately aware and familiar with the Invigilator app. You are third years, so you should have used this app previously in previous exam sittings, so you should already know how the app works. But for those of you who might have forgotten, there is a student guide which has been circulated by the university, by the respective lecturers. I've also circulated this, which you should please read before the time. Don't wait for the morning of the exam before you start reading it, because if you then have a challenge, there might not be time to resolve any issues. Your cover page of your exam will have your exam QR code or the exam access code. Now you have to either key in the exam access code or scan the QR code so that you can open the app, and then you proceed with the instructions as guided by the system. There is also video guidance of how the app works, how to use the app, and the basics are covered by accessing the link. This has also been shared with everybody via the various communication platforms. I want to strongly encourage you, please, set yourself up for success by doing the demo test before the time so that you can see what the app does, how it responds, what must you do. If there's a hiccup, you can sort it out timelessly. Please do not wait for the morning of the exam before you do this. Today is the 11th of October. You have less than 2 weeks left before you write your exams. There's no time like the present. I want to really urge you, please do yourself a favor, scan the code, take the test, and see how the system works so that you can familiarize yourself with the system. Anytime while you are using the Invigilator app, either before the time or on the day of the exam, and you hit a challenge, not your lecturer, not the dean, not even the vice principal of the university can assist. Only the technical support team can assist, and you need to send them a WhatsApp message. You cannot call them. You have to send them a WhatsApp message, and there is the number. Please make sure that you take screenshots of the challenge you are experiencing so that you can get it on record, what has happened, so that when the reporting takes place afterwards, your evidence can be viewed. I want to please emphasize, UNISA does not accept excuses of load shedding or no network coverage as reasons why you were unable to access the exam or upload your exam. So please make sure that these aspects are covered in the area where you will be taking your exam. I want to remind everybody again, several students made themselves guilty of using specific online artificial intelligence software to do assignment 1 and assignment 2. This is not permitted. Please, you may not do this. You have to use your study guide and additional resources that you are able to access, which means literature, not artificial intelligence software. And you have to draft your own answers. And please, you have to reference what you are doing. Last exam, there were large numbers of students who simply did not pass the exam, not from lack of trying, but simply by not adhering to these guidelines. And we are third year. We have been talking to you, assignment 1, assignment 2, about in-text referencing, correct referencing, and a reference list. So at this stage, you should already have that down pat, and you should be able to see from your feedback tutorial letters how to do this correctly and accurately. So at this stage, I have covered the examination app process, and I want to ask if there are any questions either in the chat box or via the students who are online. You may raise your hand and then I will acknowledge you, and then you can just name your question, or you can just simply write your question in the chat box if there are any questions about what we have just discussed. You are welcome to draft your questions in the chat box, or you can raise your hand, and then when I call on you, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I want to remind everybody at this stage that I did give a specific class on answering questions based on a case study. Yes, the exam will be based on a case study. It will be exactly the same case study you encountered in assignment 2, but the questions will differ. So do not expect the same questions, but expect the same case study. Please, if you have not yet done so, go and look at the recording on answering questions from the case study. Set yourself up for success by doing it before the time so that you are familiar with what it is that I was explaining and what it is that we expect when you answer based on a case study. I see no questions coming out of the chat. Are there any questions from the floor? I'm going to invite you to raise your hand to see if there are any questions from the floor. Any questions from the floor? I do not see any questions. I do not see any hands. I also do not see any questions in the chat box. I see somebody is starting to type a question in the chat box. So while we wait for that, I'm going to reiterate that your exam will be a 4-hour open book exam. You will have to reference in the text and have a reference list at the end. Okay, all clear? And you will have to please make use of the case study that has been provided, which is exactly the same case study as was used for assignment 2, obviously with different questions. Okay, it looks like everybody is satisfied. If there are no more questions in the chat box, I'm going to end the recording and end the session, and then you are more than welcome to view the recording when I post it on the module site again. Thank you for joining us for the session, and all of the best for the upcoming exams. Thank you. Bye-bye.